Hey guys, welcome to the Something About Tuesdays podcast. I'm your host, Phebe Joi. Join me every other Tuesday for a lighthearted podcast to keep you company while you do your thing. Hey guys, welcome back to Something About Tuesdays, episode 53. I'm your host, Phebe Joi, and hi, hey, and welcome. You guys, guess what? I think anyway, that we are officially at 2 years of the podcast. Woohoo! I can't believe it. We're here. It's 2 years later. Somehow I've managed to keep it up. Somehow you're still here listening. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. And hi, hey. For those of you, if you are relatively new and you didn't listen from the beginning, maybe you've just started listening or you kind of listen and you're going backwards, you may not know where the hi, hey, welcome is coming from. You'll have to listen, I think, to the first couple episodes, but basically it's referencing this little meme/reel of this little girl who was really excited. And when I first started the podcast, I was really excited and I felt like her. And I was like, hi, hey, hi. But she was saying bye because she was heading to school. Anyway, so that's where that came from. But happy 2 years to the crew, to all of us, to those who listen, and to recording. Again, like I said, thank you guys so much for listening and for tuning in. Whether you're a new listener or an old listener, thank you. And I'm glad that you're here. And if you haven't, look, y'all, it's been a long time since I've had a review, okay? Like, go ahead, look, especially if you've listened on Spotify, Instagram. I love the 5-star reviews, but I also like the written ones too. So feel free to leave a 5-star review, write something nice on there. Don't write anything if you're going to be like, well, this is what could be better. No, don't do that. But if you can, if you want to, go ahead and do that. And if not, that's fine too. Just keep listening. I'm cool with that as well. But hey, everybody, I hope your last couple of weeks have been good. I feel like mine have been good, and I have so much like random things that I cannot wait to share. This is going to be a fun episode. I'm curious how long it'll be. I don't know if it'll be like my regular, I try to do between 45 minutes to an hour most episodes. And usually get right around like 50 something minutes. Like an hour is like, that's what I feels good. But let me see. There's a few things that I feel like we got to talk about, and it's all good. It's going to be a great episode because these are some random just stuff. My thoughts have been just going at it for the last couple of weeks. And so you will see by the end of this episode, you're gonna be like, Yep, her thoughts, she was having a lot of them. And so, yeah, so I just wanted to just let you know, just hang on. It's going to be a fun episode. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Just flipping through or scrolling through my little list of things that I have, it's already making me giggle. So I want to start with, I guess my very first thought from the last episode that I had was Lego my ego. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned this like a year or so ago. And this is how it works. I forget about the good, yummy, like treats of the past, probably months at a time. And then somehow something will trigger the thought and I'll be like, you know what? I want to try that again. And while it's never quite the same as when I was a kid, I find that it is still pretty good. And I say that because I got the Eggo waffles. And just a couple weeks ago, I was like, you know what? It had been a long time. Like, we keep our Eggo waffles in the deep freezer downstairs in the basement, like way down there. Like, I only go down there to get some meat. Like, I don't go down there for anything. So usually I kind of forget what's down there. And so I don't know if it was my husband that mentioned it or I went down there for something else and I saw the Eggo waffles. I think my husband had mentioned it. And I was like, that sounds pretty good. So I went and I got those things, and lo and behold, you guys, they're definitely smaller than I remember, but stick those things in the toaster and they're pretty good. Now I'll admit, they get cold super fast. Like, you've got to eat them within the first minute of them coming out of the toaster or they will be cold, but they are still pretty good. Do they feel unhealthy? Yes. Do they feel like this probably isn't the most nutritious or best breakfast I should have? Yes. But are they quick, easy, and pretty good? Yes. So they are still good and tiny. I would still consider them top tier old school snack, which made me think of other old school snacks that I either haven't had in a while or that I have recently gotten back on the bus. And one of those is something I have gotten back on the bus on is the Pop-Tart. Right? Like Pop-Tarts are what I'm telling, like these are things I ate as a kid, right? Like these were the breakfasts that our parents gave us, thanks Ma, as a kid. And Pop-Tarts was one of them. And I remember loving them as a kid. My sister loved her frosted cherry. I loved my brown sugar cinnamon. That is the absolute best kind. And so I've been eating, my husband had bought them, I guess, within the last couple of months, and we've been eating Pop-Tarts, like on the go for breakfast. And again, is it healthy? No. But is it good, quick, and easy? Most definitely. So we've been doing the Pop-Tarts. Now, my mom will laugh at this because my husband, he's one of those who is like, we don't need the name brand for anything. We can do the generic brands, the Kroger brand, the Walmart brand of anything. And I'm like, well, maybe some things, but stuff like Pop-Tarts, we got to have like the Pop-Tart brand, right? Like we can't have toaster pastries from from Kroger. We got to have Pop-Tarts. Lo and behold, you guys, my husband bought the toaster pastries, the Kroger brand, and I was like, what is this? And they didn't taste terrible. They honestly, I haven't had either in such a long time that they kind of taste the same to me. But I sent my mom a picture. I was like, Mom, what is this? Why is my husband giving me these generic brand Pop-Tarts? But alas, they were still good. But another thing is all the fruit snacks. Do you guys remember the fruit snacks? Like just the regular fruit snacks, the fruit roll-up, the fruit, what was that one that was like a piece of paper? Fruit, what was that called? Fruit, maybe that was the fruit roll-up. Yeah, that was the fruit roll-up because the long one was the fruit by the foot. And that was good too. But what I would do is I would take like, I would be the one who I didn't like to eat it bit by bit. Like I would take a big old chunk of it, crumble it up in my hand and pop the ball in my mouth. Like that's how I ate fruit by the foot. Same with fruit roll-ups though. Like, and it's so funny because my sister and I, we eat so different and I wonder if it's personality related. I feel like I've mentioned this before, but if I haven't, personality related, the way you eat a mint, it's gotta be personality related. When I have a mint in my mouth, I have to crunch it right away. But my sister, when she has a mint in her mouth, I mean, she can suck on that thing for like 2 days, right? Like that's what it feels like. Her and my husband are similar in that way. And I'm like, maybe it has to do with some introversion or just the need to not have to, I don't know, go fast. I don't know. But I'm one of those people, I've tried like even a cough drop that I'm trying to take to soothe my throat. I will suck on that thing for like 30 seconds and I'm like, crunch, 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 and it's gone. So same with like fruit by the foot. I feel like my sister was one who would take her time with it or even with the fruit roll up. And I feel like I would just crumble it in a ball and jam it in my mouth. But those were good. And the fruit snacks are good. I still like those. Those are definitely good. And the Gushers. Now, we weren't huge Gusher people because I think Gushers were a lot more expensive than just your regular fruit snack, which I didn't mind. Just the Smiles from Walmart, if you know that brand. But that was the thing. Like I said, we didn't do the Gushers, but we did the fruit snacks, and those were good. And then another one that I thought about, but I literally have not had in forever, are bagel bites. Yeah, like the pizza. I think it was pizza pepperoni bagel bites. And do you guys remember? So I grew up without a TV. But I did watch TV at my grandmother's house in the summer. And so I would be privy to some commercials. And do you guys remember the bagel commercial? The pizza bagel one that was like, pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza at any time. You guys. I remember that. I don't know how or why, but sometimes those things are catchy. Like I remember a commercial that, and I feel like I've mentioned this before, the, what was it called? The little Advantix commercial for your dog. Hello, mother. Hello, father. Flea sticks, mosquitoes. Really bother. Thanks for the package. Like I remember the whole thing. So some of those jingles are quite catchy, but that's another topic. So we have, I've been thinking about those different snacks and just the good old days with those snacks and bring them back around because surprisingly they're kind of still there. And I wonder, like in the future when I have children one day, hopefully, God willing, if those would be like the snacks that I get my kids, or if there are new snacks out there, right? Because I don't have kids, and because and I don't eat like a kid, I don't know what kind of fun snacks are out there. Like I know Lunchables are still out there because I will still grab a Lunchable, the pepperoni pizza one and the nacho one, the best. But I'm not sure what other snacks are out there. I haven't really looked like at the old kid snacks, but anywho, so holler at me, let me know what your favorite kind of go-to snack was back in the day, or if you've had any experience with something that you haven't had in a long time. You're like, oh, it's been a while since I've had that, and it was pretty good. But yeah, okay. So that was just that. You all, I feel like the last couple of weeks of school have just been fun, but full of things. And so I have a few elementary school shenanigans, some elementary school stories that I have to share for the last couple of weeks. Okay, and I'm trying to decide if I want to start with the story or the Read Across America week. Let's start with Read Across America. So last week was Read Across America. I'm recording this on Saturday, so technically it wasn't this past week, but the week before that, if that makes sense. And it was Read Across America week. So each day, our school had a theme day, as most, I think, elementary schools do. I don't know if they do it in middle and high schools. I don't know that I've ever paid attention, but most elementary schools do some type of something for that week. And so we had theme days for every day. So the very first week, or the very first day, Monday, was career, like dress as someone who you want to be when you grow up. And so usually every year I dress as, I'll wear a police shirt from like my husband, and I'll be like, if I wasn't a teacher, I would want to be a police detective. And every year I look for those fellow little elementary school students who dress up as a cop, and I will go and take pictures with them, and I'll be like, hey, you and me, and I'll tell them my husband's a cop, and just fun little stuff to make connections with them. And so I was able to do that this year. And one of the best just quick comments and conversations I had was with another teacher of mine. Her name was Greg. And we were in the hallway, and she's like, Miss McGahey, we're supposed to be dressed up as stay-at-home moms. And I was like, yes, because truth be told, what I want to be when I grow up is a stay-at-home mom. All right. Like I was asked recently from, I think actually one of her teammates, she was doing a celebrating Black individuals bulletin board. And so she had chosen me. And as one of those people, there was quite a few. I'm not just saying she picked me because I was the one, but no, I mean, different people at our school. And she had asked me, where do you want to be in 5 years? And I thought about it, and I was like, I think I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, that's where I want to be in 5 years. So that is right, Miss Craig. That's what I should have dressed up as on career day. But my go-to was my police detective, and it was cute. There was some little ones that were so cute in their little outfits. I mean, I went to one classroom, and the teacher, I'd went, and I was like, oh, look, little police officer. And she's like, yeah, we have doctor, and we have, I can't remember who else. It was like a doctor and a nurse and a teacher. And she had listed things, and then she was like ready to move on. And this little girl said, hey, what about me? And she was like, oh, yes. What do you want to be? She was like, I'm what did she say? A pop music influencer or something like that. And we were like, oh, yes, that's good too. So the things that they came up with it was really good, and it was cute. So that was day one, right? So then day two was cultural day. So that was because our school is 60%, more than 60%, a little more than 60% of our school are students of different cultures. So they're some type of an American, like a Hispanic American, Cuban American, coming from all other countries. We have a very, very diverse population. And so culturally, I was born here in America, and so I was like, okay, I have an American culture, but obviously I'm Black, so I'm African American. If we go back far enough, right? I have African in me. And so I was like, I'm going to represent the African culture. And which my sister had the cutest skirt and scarf that we had gotten from, I think we got it from a World Fest event in our city. And so I borrowed that, and I wore that. And you guys, well, one, it was just great to represent, various cultures. And then when I got there, one of my students, so I work with an EL student. So one of my students was walking behind me, and he goes, are you African? And I was like, well, I somewhere far back in my line, there's African in me, though I am from America. And he was like, I'm African too. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Because he's a black kid like me, right? But he is actually from Africa. But I thought it was so cute that he was like, you're African. Like, it never crossed his mind that as a black teacher, maybe he had some African roots. And I was like, yeah. And then another girl in one of the upper grades, someone that I used to work with, she saw me. She goes, you look so beautiful. We wear that in my culture. And I was like, I love that. And she was like, I love it. And I was like, thank you so much. So it was just really cool to see that and to see the diversity of that. And that was just great and fun. And then the other days, I think we just had, look, I didn't even write that much because the other days not much happened. I think we had the next day, like your favorite team shirt. And I just did my college shirt. And then we did, I think your favorite hat, which I didn't wear a hat because I had my hair in this cute hairstyle. I had it in these faux locks that I had my mom put in. More on that later. Super cute, by the way, but not really conducive for wearing a hat. And then the last day, I think we just had to pick our favorite outfits. And I was like, I think by that day, I think I just wore the most comfortable thing I had. But that same week, we had a STEM night. And so that would be like which science, technology, engineering, and math. And we got to do that at our school. And one of the two things that stood out from STEM night were I got to see a student of mine who I worked with his little brother now. His little brother is in first grade, and I had his older brother in second grade. His older brother's in seventh grade now. And I was working the cafeteria. I was working the food part. That's what I signed up for. I was like, let me do the food. I can pass out food all day long. I'd rather do that than do a STEM activity. But I was working in the food part, and him and his family came by, and I remembered his name. And I said, hey, so-and-so. And he goes, oh, you remember me? And I was like, yeah. And then a couple of my coworkers were next to me, and they're like, yeah, we remember you. And they were telling him about things that they remember. And he just looked so surprised. He goes, I can't believe you really remember me. And he held his little heart, and he was like, you remember me? I was like, yeah, like it hasn't been that long. I mean, I guess it's been a while, almost 5 years, but like, yeah, I remember you. And so he he was like, thank you for remembering. I'm so surprised you remember me. He was so precious and polite. And then I asked, what grade are you in? He's like 7th. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like that's the fun part about teaching, is seeing the kids grow up and kind of just being there like, I remember you when you were this, right? And so seeing that. And then the other thing that I saw that was just cute from that moment was when it was afterward and it had started raining. At the very end, it had just started raining. It was about to start like really raining and storming. And so when I was walking out to my car, head down, trying to not get too wet, I looked up and there was a family with their van, and there were like 2 kids, and they were all standing outside of the van, and one of the kids was just spinning in circles in the rain. And it was so cute. I was like, that's enjoying the moment. I was like, I know their car's gonna be wet when they get inside, but they looked like they were living it up in the rain. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, to be able to spin in the rain. Like I said, my head was down trying to get to my car, but one of these days, I think I might take a spin in the rain. If my hair is doing good, like, usually if my hair is natural, I don't mind it getting wet because it's already thick, so it doesn't make a difference. Or if it's up in some type of in braids or something like that, I don't mind too much either. But at the same time, I don't like being soaked. So I don't know. I have to pick an opportunity for that. But anyway, so I thought that was a nice moment, just seeing other people living in the moment, and then having a kid be very surprised that I remembered him. I'm more like, do you remember me? Like, I was your teacher. But it was good overall. Now, I wrote this down too because a lot of the stories I share are very positive, and I still have a couple more that I'm going to share that are kind of funny and positive at the same time. But working in an elementary school, if we're going to be real, okay, real moment, kids get crazy, okay? And most of the time I don't share crazy kid moments because they're kids, they have their moments, not trying to make anybody look bad, but y'all, okay, I can't remember what day it was last week, but when I say like every child done lost their mind, like it was rough. And our poor ECE teachers, those are exceptional childhood education teachers, I believe, also known as our special education teachers. When I say by Friday they looked worn out, man, they looked worn out. And it's not just their students. I mean, it was everybody from top to bottom were losing their minds. So one of the days I had to sub in a classroom and first grade, and when I was in there, the kids, I can't remember what we were doing. I think we were just getting into reading. So I was like, you can read a book or you can get on this computer program where you can practice your reading. And one of the kiddos was like, I don't want to read. And I was like, okay, you can read, you can get on this program, or you can write. Like, I'll take all of that. All that's literacy related. And she was like, I want to color. And I said, that's a great idea. So after you write something, you can color. And so this student, I don't mean to call her as a she, but this student was not feeling that. And at some point I'm working with someone else and she just starts crying. Okay. And I look and she had fallen out of her chair. Cause first I thought it was related to her wanting to color or something. Cause normally that is how she expresses her feelings about it. But she was, she had fallen out of her chair. And so I go over and I'm like, hey, you all right? I mean, top of the lungs screaming. And she's fine. I look her up. She sits in her chair and she's just screaming. And the other kids are looking like, what do we do? And so I just, for the most part, I model to the kids what to do. I, ask if she's all right. And then I keep going. I let her scream. And then I was like, hey, do you need a tissue? And then finally, because it's what my dad taught me this thing a long time ago. And I'm not saying this was the best situation for that, but he said when people are thinking in their the part of the brain, the emotional part that's just going crazy. You really can't reason or logic with that until they come out of that, right? Until they calm down a little bit. So like the logical, well, hey, everything's fine and it's okay and and let's figure out a solution. That conversation's not going to happen while they're hyped up, right? So I would do like little proddings to kind of help her get her to calm down. And sometimes she would, and she just kept screaming, you guys, for like 3 minutes so far. And I know 3 minutes, that's not long. Okay, imagine a kid screaming for 3 minutes. And so then eventually she takes a breath from screaming. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, good. And she goes, what would make me feel better? And I was like, what's up? And I already know what she's about to say. She's like, I would really like to color this picture. And I said, oh, and I love that idea. And once you finish writing something, you can color that picture. And when I say she cried all over again, I mean, and I was like, yeah, you're frustrated. Okay. So a little bit was crying and just top of her lungs, and the rest of the kids were dealing with. And eventually she was able to regulate herself and calm down. And guess what? She picked up a book and started reading. And I was like, there we go. Like kids can get there with a little bit of support. But that quick little story, and that one I'm just sharing because that was one that I was personally involved in. But just from just being in the same school building that week, okay. You got to have Jesus and a sense of humor to work with kids in elementary school. They say you got to have patience. You do have to have that too, but patience will run out on you. So you got to just not take things personally and just, I don't know. Y'all, it was a wild week. But a good week overall. I do have to share one more slightly not as positive kid story, but a funny one, or at least I thought it was funny. And again, like I said, this is lighthearted. We're keeping it lighthearted. It's a lighthearted podcast, but I thought it was kind of cute and funny. Though it did not start out that way. So I have car rider duty in the morning and in the afternoons. And so in the afternoon, that means that I am in the gym with all the car riders and help the students to dismiss as their cars come. So while I'm in there, I'm lining the kids up and sending them out to their cars, but I'm also, keeping watch over the kids in the gym. Well, while I was there, one of the kids was lined up and another kid just said something very rude to the student, not to the student. He said it, I think he was making fun of the student to another student who was standing in front of the original student, if that makes sense. 3 kids involved. A boy standing, a girl standing in front of him, and then a boy sitting down. And the boy sitting down was talking to the girl standing, making fun of the boy behind her standing, if that makes sense. And so, of course, I got on him because this was a kid I've known since kindergarten. So I don't say I laid into him, but I talked very sternly to him about how that was disrespectful, rude, and not very polite. Had him apologize and things. I was like, did you? And afterward, like I said, the students were lined up to leave, so they left, and I was able to talk to him. And I was like, I mean, did you see the other student's face when you said that? Because he was doing the whole, I was just joking, I didn't mean it. As kids learn to do so early. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so the whole I was just joking thing, I'm like, that's not an excuse. Did you see his face? Like, he looked very sad and upset by what you said. So that's not how we joke. And if your other friends are okay with that, fine, but know that that's not okay with him. So you don't joke like that with him. So anyway, so we had the whole conversation, right? And I say this because there was another student, so student number 4, who was behind him, right? And he was kind of laughing at what the student who made fun of the other one said. And so now the two that were standing, this is hilarious, you guys. I should have given them names, but the girl and boy originally are gone. Who's left is the one who said the rude statement, and then the other little boy who was sitting beside him who just laughed. Okay, so that's kid number 4, student number 4. So the student that had made fun of the other kid, he ends up leaving. Okay, so his car gets taken. So all that's left is the one kid who had laughed when the one kid said the rude thing. The story. Y'all gonna have to like go back, rewind, and be like, now what? Who? I'm so sorry. So anyway, so now we're down to just that 4th student who was part of the original situation, but now we're about to have a whole new situation involving that 4th student. So really that whole first situation, I didn't even have to mention because that's not where this story comes from. But it was sort of like the context, like for whatever reason, students were saying mean things to other kids that day. And so anyway, so now this kid's in line, all right? And he's there and, there's another kid, so student number 5, who like the line's moving up, so kids are leaving, and so more kids are kind of getting closer to me. And so oh my gosh, this is hilarious. I am so sorry. I should have labeled these kids differently. Okay, let's start. I'm not going to go through the whole story again, but we'll say student number 1 and 2 were the girl and boy standing in the line, okay? Student number 2 was the boy who was made fun of, okay? Then we have student number 3. Student number 3 was the one who made fun of student number 2 by talking to student number 1, right? And then student number 4 laughed at what student number 3 said. Now, at this point, student number 1, 2, and 3 have left. They're gone. Their cars have come and gone. And who's left is student number 4, just the one who had laughed. Now, student number 4 is now standing in line, getting ready to leave. While he's standing there, we're introducing a new student, student number 5, okay? Student number 5 is sitting because his car is not ready yet. So student number 4 is in line, ready to walk out the door. Student number 5 is sitting. Okay. So student number 5 ends up saying something rude about student number 4's brother, who I haven't mentioned yet. He has a little brother, and his little brother is on the spectrum. Okay, so his little brother often struggles to just stand in line, right? It usually takes an adult holding his hand or guiding him. So his brother is like kind of wandering around right now. Little brother, kindergarten, he's a baby. And so student number 5 is making fun of the little brother of student number 4. Okay, so that just sets the context of where we are and where the kids are. So student number 4, it all comes down to what student number 4 said. And he said this. He said, because when he heard number 5 making fun of his brother, he said, "Are you making fun of my brother?" He's like, "You must have no brain cells because you're making fun of somebody who is on the spectrum. You know what? You're on the road to being a flat earther in the future." Y'all, I was like, what kind of insult? And I wrote it down, and I know y'all are like, that's it, but no, like it was so funny because one, I was like, I'm so glad you're defending your brother against this behavior. Like, I really do think I would defend my sibling if somebody was making fun of my sibling, especially if my sibling had other issues going on and they were just trying to tease the sibling, right? So I'm so glad that he defended him. I thought it was hilarious that he said he had no brain cells. And then when he said you're on the road to being a flat earther in the future as an insult and as proof to him having no brain cells, you guys, I was like, oh my goodness. And I didn't say anything to the kid. I just, like some situations you insert yourself as the teacher and you're like, hey, hey, hey. And then sometimes you like kids socialize, like their socialization comes from their interactions with each other. And honestly, in the moment, I was like, you know what? I would not have told the other kid he had no brain cells, but as the teacher, I would have said, we don't talk about other students that way. Just as I had like 10 minutes before with the other one. And so, anywho, y'all, when I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness, that's the insult of a lifetime. I'm gonna tell people, like, you are on the road to being a flat earther in the future. I don't know where he got that. I don't know what that, like, was that about, but I was like, oh, he is like, you are a flat earther. And I don't know if there's a deeper meaning to that other than we know the earth is not flat, but that made me giggle. And y'all, this is elementary school. Like, this is why you gotta work around kids, because kids say the funniest things. Y'all remember that show back in the day called Kids Say the Darndest Things? Like, they really do though, and it's funny. Even when they're being slightly insulting, it was kind of funny. But anyway, so that's my only kind of like kind of story. But I do have 2 more school stories. I told y'all, I am full of it these last couple of weeks. There are some some good things that are happening, or at least some funny things. So the other 2 things that I want to share is one more thing. This was definitely a precious story and quick little life lesson learned. And that is this. So in my small group, I have a small math group that I see that I pull every day. And on Fridays, I let them bring their computers where we can do some type of math computer game, like a Kahoot or quizzes or something like that. And those are just math games that students can compete against each other and try to win or whatever. So I had this math game pulled up, and I have 5 students in my group. And so normally, now teachers in the classroom, they will play this game as well. So they'll have 20-something kids in the classroom, right? And you can pretty much, I think, have almost as many as you need playing. But for my group, it works the same for 5 kids as it would for 20-something. And so we are playing this game. The kids are doing great. They're practicing adding 10s and 1s to double-digit numbers. So that would be, this is first grade, so there would be like 14 plus 3, or it would be like 14 plus 30, being able to add your 10s or your 1s to a double-digit number. And they're doing really good. And so, but we make it to the end, and they just want to see like who's in first place, who's in second place, who's in third place. Because at the end of the game, it'll show it. It'll have like little stages, like a little stage on the screen. It'll show like third place, then second place, then first place, and it reveals it, and they can cheer, and then it'll show the rest of the scores. Well, so we got to see who was in third place, second place, and first place. And they are just like, woohoo, we made it. But as you know, I have 5 kids. Well, after those 3 show, another screen will show that'll have the 4th and 5th place winners. And then after that, it just kind of just shows everybody. So they do like a little shout out to 4th and 5th place winners. And when the 4th and 5th place winners show up, this little boy in my group goes, I got 5th place. Like, so excited. And I was like, yeah, because I was like, what is he excited about? In the sense that this is last place. Like, and he was not upset at all. Like, I had kids that, they get upset with third place. And he was like, I got 5th place. And he was so excited. And I was like, you got 5th place. Yes. Like, good job. Even though that's still last place. But he got 5th place, even though it was out of 5. And I was like, well, what is he so excited about? But I thought about it, and I think I was talking to my mom and dad about it, and we came to the conclusion that when they do it in their classroom, if there's 27 students, 5th place is a big deal, right? And you actually get to see your name up on the board. Whereas, if you were like 6 or below, then your name's not on the board until the very end when everybody's up there. And I was like, maybe that's why he was so excited about being 5th place, which was also last place with my group. But if he's thinking of the context of like my classroom, if he never gets to see his name up there and he finally gets to see his name up there, then yeah, he's excited about 5th place. But anyway, so his excitement about 5th place got, y'all know I think, and I'm like, that's right. Like, we should be proud of whatever place we are in, like I may not be first, second, or third. I may be 5th place out of 5, but 5th place is still good. Especially if you think about how there could have been 27 people. Y'all, I don't know if he made that connection that he was last place, but he definitely made the connection that his name was on the board. And so I thought that was the cutest moment with how excited he was, which was great. So then the last story I have to share about school was this happened, not yesterday, Thursday. This happened 2 days ago. And y'all, I call this the Great Wasp Debacle. So in my room where I pull my students, it's a big room and there are 5 ELD, English Language Development teachers that are up there. I have a corner near a window. My coworkers, I have one other coworker, Miss Bartley. She has a corner near the window. And then the other 3 teachers have sort of like the center spaces on the inside of the room. Well, I had taken my groups. Again, I have my small group. So this is now a first grade small literacy group. And we are going upstairs and we go into my corner. And I'm, settling behind my lovely, kidney table. And my kids are starting to, pile around and sit in their seats when one kid goes, "What is that?" And that freaks you out anytime you hear that. But also being around kids, I'm like, that literally could be anything. And so another kid goes, "Ah, I think it's a bee." And I'm thinking like, oh, but I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. And they are pointing up. And y'all, I look up and not too far from me was this fat wasp. And I mean, not a cute bee. I'm talking a fat wasp, one of them big ones that just look terrifying. And my kids start going, ah, they don't scream, but they're like, ah, they start making noises of distress, right? And I was like, okay. I said, well, let's move around the table because you guys, I am freaking out just as much as they are. I'm trying to keep cool because I'm the teacher and the adult in the situation, but I am equally like, I don't want this thing to sting me. No, y'all, the wrong one. You guys wanted somebody to protect you, wrong one. So I said, okay, guys, let's just go around. We're going to go to the library area. So we start heading over that way. Well, by this point, we were like, where'd the bee come from? Well, Miss Bartley, she likes to keep her windows open for the fresh air, which I totally get, and it has been beautiful weather lately. And so she had the window open, and we were like, okay, maybe we can get out the window. Well, she came back with her group, and then she was like, oh, yeah, that wasp has been in here, like, all day. And I'm like, why have we not noticed this? And so then I said, okay, guys, we got to wait for Mr. Cox. He's one of the other teachers, and I'm like, okay, he can handle it. And they're like, is it because he's a boy? And I was like, well, yes, but not just that, because I don't think you would be scared of the wasp as we are. So, just a quick pause of the story. It has started storming while I am recording. So if you hear lightning and things in the background, enjoy the ambiance. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully it won't be too loud or disruptive. But anyway, so I was like, maybe Mr. Cox should be back soon with his group. Let's just bring our notebooks over here. So I leave them in the library center, which is in between myself and Miss Bartley, if you can picture that. And I'm like walking back to get their notebooks, and they're like, Miss McGay is behind you. It's right behind you, Miss McGay. It's behind you. And I am like, it's not, because it had already kind of moved up towards the ceiling and towards the light, which is above Mr. Cox's area, not mine. Y'all, I turned around. That thing was close. I was like, oh no, it really is. So I quickly, looking as calm as I can, quickly get back behind, come back around to where the kids are, to the library center. And I have their notebooks. And I'm like, okay, guys, we can just sit on the floor and write in our notebooks. I was like, but somebody does have to keep an eye on that wasp because we got to know where it goes. And I said, maybe if we open the window. Well, at that point, Mr. Cox came in with his group. And I was like, hey, Mr. Cox, there is a wasp right between our two, areas. And he's like, yeah, we saw that. I was like, yeah, my kids are really freaking out. And because my kids were freaking out, his kids started freaking out, which originally they weren't. He had second graders. And so they're like, there's a wasp. So now we've got 2 groups of kids, 5, 6 first graders, 5 second graders who are focused on this wasp. And so Mr. Cox is like, okay, let me just go open the window and I'm sure it'll fly right out. So he goes over to my side, goes behind my table and opens the window. And we're like, great. All we got to do is let it go out. Well, the wasp does end up flying over in that direction. We're like, yes. So his kids go back to their table and he's working with his kids. And mine, we're still at the library center, staring at this wasp. Like, I'm trying, look, I only have a certain amount of time, like 20 something minutes with these kids. I was like, I know we got to get something done. We got to write stuff down. And I kept telling them, go ahead and write down noun and adjectives on your columns. Like, we were making a graphic organizer, but they were not listening. They were like, staring at that wasp. And I couldn't blame them because I was too. Like, I'm talking to them while staring at this wasp. And occasionally little sounds would come from the mouths, like just little sounds of terror. So then, so then the wasp gets close to the window, and we're like, yeah. Well, then it flies away from the window, goes in the opposite direction, goes back towards the middle, and we are like, oh no. Well, it goes to a light that's a little farther away. And we're like, okay, good. I said, guys, let's go back to our area. And they're like, we're still scared because the wasp is still in here. I was like, I know, but it's across the room. I think we'll be fine. So we go back into my little area. Hesitantly. We march our little selves back, trying to be as brave as we possibly can. And we sit down, and I was like, okay, guys, write nouns and adjectives at the top of your paper. And we're still kind of like standing where the wasp is. I had maybe 2 kids of the 5 or 6 who were actually writing stuff down. The rest were staring with me. And y'all, lo and behold, that daggone wasp came back. So very calmly, if I was a brave teacher, I just would have sat there and been like, y'all, we're fine. But I'm not a brave teacher. So I said, okay, guys, let's stand up. And mind you, there are 3 other groups going on, but my little corner, we just can't get ourselves together. So we stand up, and I said, okay, we're going to walk back to the library. Now, I can say that calmly, but that doesn't mean these kids are going to listen and do it calmly. So I already got 2 who start squealing and start rushing. I'm like, just walk. We're not, because I'm trying to also keep them quiet. I'm like, don't disrupt the other groups. Like, we'll just do our thing. I get it. Like, they're not scared of it, but we are. So I try to get them over there, but like I said, 2 start like squealing. 1 starts rushing over there. I said, leave your notebooks. Because they would go over, then they're like, we forgot our notebook, and they were trying to go back, and then 1 was trying to bring his notebook. It was chaos. So anyway, I said, leave your notebooks. Well, then Mr. Cox gets up because our distraction makes his group distracted, and all of a sudden they're like, the wasp is back. So his group is also now not concentrating on whatever he was working on. And he's like, oh my goodness. So he creates this, he gets a yardstick, and he tapes a piece of paper at the top of it, and it almost like a little net, but like not a net. And so he gets it, and he starts like waving the wasp towards the window, and me and the kids are just squealing, like just, and I am right there with them. My heart was beating fast. I was getting just as sweaty as the kids were. And so he brushes it across the top. He takes it back over to my area towards the open window, and he gets it out the window, and we are all like, like we breathe a sigh of relief. The kids are like, oh my goodness. He's like, okay, can we all get back to work now? And we're like, okay. At this time we got like 3 minutes left of the group. So I take them back to the area, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, okay, guys, finish writing nouns and adjectives, pretending like I wasn't just scared out of my mind like they were. And they start trying to write. One little boy, he just can't get past it. He's like, can we close Miss Bartley's window? I was like, that's her window. She can have it open. Can we close it? I don't want another. I was like, it doesn't happen that often. And we took care of it. And if it happens again, we know what to do. And he's like, I want to close. So he can't focus. And the other kid's like, what if there's another? I'm like, you guys. So when I say that group was just shot, like that group, not a thing. Not a thing was learned other than that the wasp really does just want to go out. And you can make a kind of makeshift net out of a yardstick and paper, which I would do next time, because y'all, I didn't know what to do. All I knew was, let's move. Let's move as calmly as we can. And I was just as freaked out as the kids. So anyway, so that whole 25 minute debacle, as I call it, the Great Wasp Debacle happened. And shoot, we were on edge, man. I was sweating. The kids were sweating. They were squealing. I didn't squeal, but I was squealing on the inside. Because I don't play with them stinging creatures. But anyways, that ends the school stories, the elementary school shenanigans that have been going on the last couple of weeks. The next thing, so I had my quick What's on Phoebe's Algorithm segment. And that is, so there's 2 things that have been popping up lately. The first one is those quick save videos of like dads rescuing their kids or somebody else rescuing their kids. those have been popping up, and y'all, it catches me every time. I don't know why, but I like watching those near misses. Like, it is just, has anybody else seen those? Like, just the near misses. And I know this video, I know I've probably seen it like 3 times within the last couple of years. Like, they show it up every few months. But just like, they're like, these quick save, watch these like amazing dads. And they're not always dads, but just, they could just be other human beings helping other human beings. But it's fascinating to watch. Like, that's been on my algorithm, just watching those and being like, wow, look at those quick saves. And it reminds me, if back before things were videoed, my dad, he said he had done a quick save with, it was either me or my sister. I think it might have been me. And he said that he was, I had to bring dad back on. Y'all have to bring dad on to share some stories. But he said we were at a grocery store and I was in the shopping cart, and I don't know if he had turned away or something, but he said he turned back and I was going head first onto about to like smack the pavement, like leaning over the cart or somehow falling out. And he said he reached and grabbed me. He's like, and I caught you by like your foot, like by your ankle and your foot, and it kept you from slamming your head on that ground. So he says he saved my life when I was a baby, which I was like, Dad. But honestly though, that would be like one of those videos that you see where kids are like falling over something and then the parent somehow catches them just in time, right? Amazing reflexes. So that's been on my algorithm. And the other thing that has been, and this is how I know that man, your phone listens, is I've been getting caught by book recommendations, which are great, honestly. But they've been listening. So, you know how I've said the last couple of weeks, I've just been thinking a lot. And just this week, I got a Facebook ad for this book called Don't Overthink It. I think is what it's called. And y'all, I'm like ready to buy it. That has been my problem, is that I see these suggestions of books and I'm like, that actually sounds good. And then I get on Amazon, I'm like, oh, it's only $10. And then I buy it. Like, that's how I got the A Grief Observed book. Like, it was just a Facebook recommendation, like one of those ads. And I was like, I think that sounds like something I need. And so I got on Amazon and bought it like that day. And so this one, Don't Overthink It, I'm thinking about getting it. But that is kind of my problem too, is that I'll be going through something temporarily, not even always long term, just something like I've been thinking a lot lately. And then I'll want to buy a whole book on it. And then I'll be like, once I get past it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I didn't need the whole book. But I still might buy the book because I do think it might be interesting. It definitely is something that I'm working on. It's not overthinking things, trying to just go the simple route sometimes, because my brain, I try to come up with every scenario that's absolutely possible and what my response to be to every scenario and how to be prepared and ready for every scenario. And so then because of that, I'll think of so many different things that it will become hard for me to make a decision because I just feel like I'm getting pulled in so many directions. And so I have been trying to work on, okay, go with the simplest one, go with something that's simple. And I've been working on that. I've been working on, trying to figure out more about hearing the voice of God, like being able to discern things and make the right decisions and have him teach me stuff. And I do want to throw out this kind of cool thing. So probably about a week and a half ago, I was praying and I was talking to God and I was getting frustrated. And I was like, God, can you teach me how to deal with disappointment? And I used to be scared to pray that prayer because I was like, the way he's going to do that is by giving me disappointment. But disappointment came anyway. So I might as well pray that God teaches me how to deal with it because it came and it will continue to come, here and there. And so I was like, teach me how to deal with disappointment and how to deal with things not going my way. But like legit teach me. Like I'm tired of feeling the same thing, of thinking the same way. Teach me how to think differently. And I know that's like what the Bible's for and prayers for and church is for, but I felt like I just needed to say that to God. Like I know that's what I try to live and what I try to do, but I wanted to say those words to God. So what ended up being awesome is that after I said that prayer this past Sunday, we had a missionary come to our church and her scripture text was, I think, Psalm 32:8. And it was a scripture that was like, I will teach you and guide you and counsel you. It was something like that. I went back and I read it that night and I went to sleep reading it that night and the next day. But I was like, he answered my prayer. I know that, but like, I felt like he directly was like, I heard you. and I will teach you. And I'm like, oh, thank you, God. I'm like, okay. And so it is scary to kind of think about like, okay, the way if you've got is if you got to go through stuff that doesn't go your way, and that part's scary. But also thinking that God will teach me how to do it, and go through it well and go through it the way that he wants me to. And also realizing that the good and the bad, all are leading up to his will and purpose and plan, like that it's not an isolated thing. Sometimes events feel so isolated. Bad events feel isolated. You're like, oh, this is a terrible thing. And you're like, I know it's supposed to be, for my good one day or whatever. But really, though, there is this larger picture that we just cannot grasp. And while that doesn't necessarily always bring comfort in the moment, as life goes on and as other events happen that are good or that are encouraging, or even other minor disappointments, you do start seeing maybe that there is a connection there. Maybe these things are tied together. Maybe, this does have a purpose in something, right? And so anyway, not to get super deep on you guys, but yeah, I'm learning to maybe not be as afraid of my future and just, trusting God, but also knowing that when those things happen, when those sad or disappointing type, frustrating definitely moments happen, that God will be there to help me through it and to teach me how to go through it well. So anyway, sorry to go off on that tangent. I said all that to say that I'm working on not overthinking it. So if that's the case, I might read that book. But anyway, and because I did look on Amazon, and it's only $10. I really might get it. So now we're going to lead to my lovely random thoughts of the last couple weeks, which means that these next few things that I'm going to mention have no relation to each other. I do not think. They are just thoughts that I've had in the last couple of weeks that I feel like you can either resonate with, or I feel like they're just random and I want to share them out there because who else am I going to tell, right? So the first thing was I saw this cool thing. I was going to El Nepal, not the El Nepal itself, that was cool, but I was going to El Nepal for my husband to get his chips and salsa, which he absolutely loves, his chips and hot salsa. Like literally that's what I get there. I get the 32-ounce container of hot salsa and the chips that go with it. And that's my husband's snack for like a week and a couple days, I should say. But so I went there to pick that up. And while I was there, I promise you, I counted. How many did I see? I saw 10. I wrote it down, 10 in a row. And then there were some other ones scattered throughout the parking lot of Jeeps, 10 Jeeps. And they all looked like the Jeep kind. So not like the massive Jeep, brand Jeep, but like the Jeep you think about when you think of Jeeps, like the open window door thing, kind of like the off-roading type. I don't know how to describe it, but when you picture like a Jeep, not like the car or the big Jeep, but like just the Jeep that you think of is all I can say, just a Jeep, right? But there were 10 of them. And so I guess they were having some type of something, I don't know. But I saw a pink and black one. There's a red and black one. There was a green one. I think there was a camel one. And then I saw a leopard print pink Jeep. Yeah, the outside, not the decor on the inside. The outside of the Jeep was leopard print pink. What? One, I'd never seen that. Two, I'd never seen that many Jeeps in a row, so I assumed they were there for some reason, but I thought that was the coolest thing. And then I saw all the ducks. And I think I've talked about ducks before, but if I haven't, I don't understand the ducks and Jeep thing. So if you know what that story is, let me know. But all of them had their little duckies, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this is like a Jeep convention here at the El Nepal. Like, I don't know what they're doing and why they're here, but I guess getting some good food. But it was really cool to see. And like I said, and they all looked different. They were different colors. They were bright colors. They were patterned. And I was like, this is kind of nifty. And so I just wrote that down to be like, I've never seen 10 Jeeps in a row, especially of different colors, and especially that leopard print and pink one. I almost wish I would have took a picture of it, but I think I was driving was I already driving? I think I was already like heading out when I decided to count them all and notice them all. So I did not take a picture of it, but I did think that they were quite interesting and kind of cool to see. So the other thing, these things are I mean, they can be lightly related. There are two food things. The first thing is just kind of a life update. My husband and I, we went to go get our pig. I call it our pig. Really, we went to go get meat from Bardstown, but pig meat. So we get like we order, I think it's a half pig maybe. I don't know, but we get like bacon and sausage and pork stuff, like all the things from the pig, and we go pick it up, and it comes in like this big like all these boxes and stuff, and we put it in our deep freeze. But we went down to Bardstown to get the pig, and that was just fun. It was a nice trip. Husband and I went down there. We ate at this place. Ooh, it was a steakhouse place, I think. I think it's called Colton's. And it was pretty good. This is our second time we've been there, and both times we've really enjoyed their food. I got a Philly cheesesteak this time. Excellent. We got these really stringy onion ring things, but they weren't onion rings, but they were like stringy onion fried onion stringy things. And those are pretty good. I will say that I think next time I'd rather get the bloomin' onion, which they also had, but we went for the cheaper one and the skinnier one because we wanted to try it and we hadn't had it before. And they were good, but they were really stringy. Like you had to eat like a whole handful at one time. But those are good. And so we went down there, we ate that, we got our pig, as I call it. And then I, walked around Bardstown, went to the little clothing shops. We got ice cream, but actually ended up not being very good. And then we made our way back. And so that was just a quick little trip that we went to. But another food place that I did try that was pretty good is this place called CM Chicken. And I had heard of it before, but it was never in my side of town. Well, they recently built one on my side of town. And it opened up, and it's Korean fried chicken, I think, something like that, Korean fried chicken. And so my husband and I were like, okay, let's get it. Like, we love our Asian foods. Like, y'all know, we love our Asian foods. So we go there, and I don't say we. I went to pick it up to bring it all the way home. But I ordered the curry. Ooh, I think it was like curry ramen, but like cheesy curry ramen. Have y'all heard of that? I'd never heard of it. And I was like, surely they don't really mean like cheesy though. Like, what? So I ordered it. It was cheesy curry ramen and with fried chicken on top, dipped in curry, which y'all, sounds funny, tastes amazing, okay? And then my husband got this, I think he just got the chicken tenders, but in some hot sauce or something. So the cheesy curry thingy. First off, it tasted like curry. It was good. It was spicy. And when the cheesy part was like more creamy cheesy, but it really was cheesy. And I was not expecting that. And I was like, this cheese and curry to me don't seem to go together. But I'll tell you this, I enjoyed it when I ate it. And I enjoyed it for leftovers the next day. So honestly, it wasn't bad. The curry was a really good flavor. I don't know that I would get it again. I think I would rather get the plain curry. But if they didn't have like a plain curry option, I would get it again. Like, I wouldn't mind trying it again. It was definitely unique. Like, I was like, this is odd. Like, but maybe if I'm ever in the mood for cheesy curry, then that would be good to try. But everything else was pretty delicious. I also got the, like those like wonton, like those fried wonton thingies they're not wontons, but they are, let's see, when I go to my Japanese restaurants, it's the gyoza, but they called it something different there. I can't think of what they called it, but it's like those pork-filled little things. I don't know what to call them, but those are pretty good. And I did eat those, like all like 6 of them in one go. But that it was a pretty good place to go. So if you guys have one, because I do think it might be a chain. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's just in my city or if it is a chain. But if you have a CM chicken place, I would definitely give it a try. The chicken tenders are huge. They remind me of Roosters. Roosters have those massive chicken tenders, but they were pretty good. Okay, so next things next. This is funny. So this is what I wrote down. Tried on wedding dress. Ha ha. Tried. Okay, so I was cleaning up my house, going through, getting rid of, I finally took all my winter decor down, finally took my winter tree down. We're not going to call it a Christmas tree because I took all the Christmas decor down way back at the beginning of the year, but my winter tree was still up. And so I took that down this past weekend, and So in doing that, cleaning up, going through my closets, trying to get out some of the things, get out some spring stuff. And I came across my wedding dress. And I said, you know what? I'm not that much bigger than I was when I was married. I mean, sure, 20 more pounds, yes. But what's 20 pounds? Like, I feel like I still look like pretty much the same. Let me try this dress on. Okay, so I took the dress to my closet. Thank God I didn't be like, husband, watch me try this on. No, I took it and I went to put that thing on. And when I say I unzipped it and I tried to wiggle in it. And then I said, oh, well, maybe I didn't zip it all the way. Y'all, I had unzipped it as far as it could unzip. And I was like, oh, it can't. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, I can't unzip it even more than what it already is. And I was like, maybe I got in it a different way. Maybe I put it on over top. So then I tried to put it over my head. You guys, when I say it just didn't. I said, oh, I guess 20 pounds is significant enough. At least for this wedding dress. I was like, oh man, like I guess, 12 years later, almost 12 years later, I guess hey, it's fine. Maybe one day I'll fit in again. Maybe one day I won't. I'm okay with that too. Look, so I put that thing right back in that bag because what I was going to do was I was going to put it on and I was going to be like, husband, look. Y'all, I didn't even tell him. I put it right back in the bag, marched it right back in the back of the closet. It said, oh, you were so pretty. And then stuck that thing back in there. It's like, till next time. Maybe in another 8 years when it's my 20 year, we'll see how that goes. But y'all, I quickly let that one go. Okay, so wedding dress was a no. Y'all couldn't even zip that thing up. I couldn't even get in it to zip it up. But anyway, I thought that was funny. But yes, so now this past Sunday was daylight savings time. And I think, for the most part, I don't even honestly pay attention to daylight savings time because everything feels automatic. Like my phone is automatic. Things change on its own. My laptop is automatic. And honestly, the only way that I know daylight savings time has happened is through my microwave and my stove. And that's because those are times are the same. That's the only way I know, other than, of course, the feeling of being tired afterward, which it's amazing how literally just that shift of an hour, I feel like it really does affect you. I was so tired the next day. I think it was the next day or two. I was like, I am exhausted. And I was like, surely all this is not from daylight savings time. But everybody was saying they were tired and the change was rough. And I was like, I think so. I think we all, that 1 hour messed us up. I don't know how 1 hour makes a difference, honestly. Because I'm like, if I stay up late 1 extra hour, it doesn't shake my world, I don't think. But y'all, apparently daylight savings time shook my world this week. And apparently a couple others, some students as well. But we're starting to get back into that. Now, this next thing, very quickly, y'all, I said I'm running through these quick. Y'all are like, oh, she's moving on. Y'all, I'm moving on. I just have to get it all out, though. So I wrote this down. And y'all, when I say I have no idea what this was, feel free to message me and, try to tell me what this means. This is what I wrote. Blank slate / backpack beanpole. Y'all, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Why did I write that down? Blank slate. I'm trying to think. I'm like, is it school related? Did we erase something? I don't know. And then backpack. I don't know. And beanpole. Backpack is what makes me think school related. Blank slate, backpack, beanpole. What? Y'all, I have no idea what that was supposed to mean or anything like that. But if you can figure that out, let me know. If I end up coming up with what it is next week, I'll bring it back and be like, y'all, this is what I meant. This is what blank slate, backpack, and beanpole meant in that same little line. I have no idea. Y'all, I literally have no idea. That is so funny. But yes. Okay. So yesterday was Pi Day 3.14. And I was going to say most people, so Homemade Ice Cream and Pie Kitchen, and I don't know if other pie places did the same, but they offered they said our pies, which are normally $7, $6 something, we're doing for 3.14, per slice this on Pie Day. And so normally people go to Pie Day and they'll get their pie for $3.14 and save money. But the way I look at it, I was like, oh, that means I can get 2 pies for the price of what I would normally pay for a pie. So y'all tell me why I walked out there with 4 Reese's pies. 4. Now I'll admit, 2 of them were for my husband, because I'm a thoughtful wifey, but 2 were for me. And so instead of getting, 2 pies for $6, which would be, the way to save money, which is the point of it, but no, they knew. Then I got 4 pies for what would be the normal amount of 2 pies. And I felt like I did just as good. And this would be great, like if you had like a big family and now you can get enough pies for everybody. But the fact that literally 2 pies for each of us, that's how we celebrated Pie Day yesterday, which I thought was just great. So if you didn't, probably next year, jump onto that, get that pie. For $3.14 plus taxes, of course. Okay, so then last night, my husband had made, the night before, I think, chicken curry in this big old pot thing. And so, we ate it last night, or we ate it the night before, and then last night he also made some mac and cheese and stuff. And basically the point is to use these big old pots. So usually if he cooks something, then I'll do the cleanup, right? And so I've discovered that I am not good at, and this isn't a new discovery so much as I've just noticed that every time I do this, it's a struggle. And that is putting things in a big pot into a storage container, that you would use for your leftovers. My coordination of taking a pot and flipping it sideways and trying to pour it into a container without spilling it all on the outside of the container, particularly something like soup or something that's juicy or soupy. And I say that, but no, that's not the case, because I did the same thing with rice and with mac and cheese and with mashed potatoes. Right, mashed potatoes, sticky things. Is I was trying to pour it. And this week, because I guess husband's cooked a lot this week, so I've been putting a lot of things in storage containers. I have just been trying to pour these things in these storage containers and just spilling it everywhere. And to me, I'm never confident in my ability to do it. I always think like, okay, this will be the best way. But as soon as I pick up that handle or something, or take that spoon, I'm just like hoping, wishing, and praying that it does not spill out, or that the water or the juice, whatever, doesn't get bigger than the size of the container it's going in. You guys, it is a gamble for me every time. And I promise you, I spill a little something every time. It can be liquidy like soup. It can be dry like the rice. And I tell you what, it's still going to end up on our counter or on our floor, which I would then have to go clean up. So if you have any advice on how to smartly put things in a container, let me know. It might be, I would think, here's my other line of thinking. I would just use a big spoon or something and scoop it into the other container. But I feel like I would spill it then, unless maybe I scoop it over the container. This sounds like a question I should probably ask my mom, because I bet you she has a way. These are the things of life that there's a simple answer, and yet my brain is like, oh, I like to think about all the complex things in life. Not something as simple as this. But anyway, so I thought I would throw that out there to the peeps out there, for those of you who are good cooks and good cleaning people, which I have been inspired lately by some cleaning Instagrams. This is one lady who, she wears these little heels, and she'll click, 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 click inside of her house, and then she'll clean up using everything. Not using everything, but she'll show you how she cleans up with different ways of cleaning. And I have been semi-inspired. In fact, I showed her to my husband, and he was like, I hope you get inspired by this woman. And I was like, But I showed her to him. And so when I cleaned up the other day, when was I doing this? When I was cleaning up, I don't know, I was cleaning up the house at some point, and I was videoing myself cleaning, because I was like, I'm gonna be like this lady, but I was doing it just for my husband. I would not post this, but when I was vacuuming, I was cleaning up for him. When I was wiping down the sink, I videoed it to show him. When I was cleaning the counters, I videoed it to show him. It was so funny. He was like, where's all the special noises? I was like, look, the fact that you should be proud of is that I'm cleaning this up. So anyway, I have been slightly inspired by some of these cleaning people that I've seen online. And to do my own cleaning. But yeah, still me and food and cooking and putting away, we don't always get along, but I guess it is what it is. Okay, so the last few things, we've made it, y'all. You've made it to the end. If you've made it this far, give yourself just a pat on the back. Look, because you know those days where you have that one friend who just has a lot she wants to share. So you just sit there and listen. I feel like this is one of those episodes. I just feel like I had a lot that I wanted to share, and you guys are being amazing listening to it. And I hope that whatever it is you're doing, that it is definitely helping the time go by a little faster, whatever it is, whatever dishes you might be doing, stuff you might be cleaning, whatever trip you might be driving through, going to work or what have you. I hope it is keeping you company and giving you a nice lighthearted place for your thoughts to land while you're doing your thing. But the last few things, so my lovely baby girl, Elena Noel, her due date was this past Sunday. So for me, it's tomorrow. When this comes out, it was this past Sunday. March 16th was her due date. And I know a lot of babies are very rarely born on their due date, very rarely, either before or afterward. But the due date is significant in some ways. Particularly when you think about, like, when you first have your baby or first know about your baby, you kind of think and plan for that time. And being that we're about 5 months past when she was actually born, I just wanted to just give a shout out to her again, and just know that I do still think about her, of course, all the time. Luckily, blessedly, I'm not as sad as I was all the time. I still have my sad moments, definitely, but it doesn't overwhelm me as much, and I have a lot of good days as well. And so that's kind of just a quick check-in with you guys. Y'all were kind of part of me on that journey, all the way up through December. And so I try not to throw too much of her out there. I don't want to trigger other people and what could possibly be a sad situation for them or anything like that. But I do want to honor her in that way and just be like, oh, this could have been her due date, and I miss her. I wish that things would have been different, but we can't go back and change anything. All we can do is move forward and not forget. And so this is just part of my moving forward, but not forgetting who she was to me and who she still is to me. So that's my baby girl. My shout out to my Elena Noel. But I will say, y'all, she did leave me one gift that I do not appreciate. And my baby girl would have some humor, so I can say this. One thing that I did not realize, so, and my mom and I talked about this, when it comes to like prepartum stuff, there was a lot of information out there. When it comes to giving birth itself, I feel like it gets fewer. And then when it becomes postpartum, it becomes even less. It's like we forget about the whole mom human being period. She don't even exist anymore. And so just one of those things, I'm not going to go into all the things postpartum that women have to go through. And y'all, I'm amazed that I've gone through postpartum stuff when I still had her so early on. I mean, we had just hit, the 17-week mark. So that was like a little over 4 months. And of a 9-month, plus journey. And so I'm very surprised at the effect that it's had on my body regardless. And by that, I mean postpartum hair loss. What? Okay, this ain't gonna apply to everybody. Obviously, if you are a male, this does not apply to you. But for all the women out there, whether you've had a baby, think about having a baby, haven't had a baby, wherever your state of mind, you will understand this just because you're a woman. And you might understand this as a man, because men lose hair too, not because of postpartum reasons, but they lose hair for other reasons. So y'all, I had, my baby girl back in October, and after I had my hair in braids, I took my hair out of braids. And when I say my hair was given, it was big and fluffy and long and healthy and soft and curly. And I was like, is this even my hair? This is amazing. This is amazing. I'm like, baby girl gave me this gift, just 4 months of her, and she gave me this beautiful hair? Yes, please. Well, then I was like, y'all, I like keeping my hair out, but I also like changing it up. So then this past January, so approximately, November, 3 months after having my girl, I was like, oh, I want to put my hair up in these cute faux locks, the ones that I mentioned earlier. My mom, she does great. She did hers, and she's done lots of different styles, honestly, and my sister, myself, and her for a while. And so I had her do these faux locks. Thank you, Mom. and they looked so good and so nice. And I kept them in for like the last like month and a half, and I loved them. And my hair was cute, and my hair was tall and big. Like when I put it in a big bun, it was the whole back to the taller the hair, the higher the hair, the closer to God. I mean, it was one of those. Like my hair was awesome in those dreadlocks. So they were so beautiful that I didn't realize what was happening underneath. So I took those out this past weekend and have discovered that my edges have decided to say goodbye to me. And I was first like, what? Because I've put my hair in braids and I've had these locks. I've had them put up, and my edges have they strong. Like they are strong. They haven't been affected by any means. But y'all, I took these out, and the shedding. And my mom commented because she helped me. She's the one who took them out for me before I washed it. And she was like, you have a lot of shedding. I was like, oh, that's normal. Like my hair always sheds, y'all. Okay. I didn't realize to what extent it was shedding. I washed my hair and I looked in the mirror and I said, oh, where did my edges go? And I didn't freak out too much because I was like, they weren't all gone, but they were just kind of gone in some patchy areas. And I was like, what in the world? But I was just a little freaked out too. You know, kind of like I was about the wasp. Like I'm probably a little more freaked out than I'm giving off, but I'm gonna play it cool, right? And so I text my mama, and she was like, it's okay, it's postpartum. And I was like, what? Like I'd heard of it, but I was like, surely that's not going to apply to me. Y'all, it applied to me. So my mom sent me this video of this lady who was talking about it, and her edges look dead up like mine. Like mine are this, one side particularly, it's like this triangle shape that's taken out of my edge, it just looks like receding hairline. And hers look just like mine. And she was like, y'all, this happens 3 or 4 months after having a baby. You will have this postpartum hair loss or shedding, and your edges will leave you, and it's hormonal related, and da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, and when it happened to me, I didn't like it, and it scared me, and I was worried, and da-da-da-da. And she's like, so I'm just here to tell you, it'll be okay. It will grow back. Give it a few months. And so I'm here to tell anybody out there. So I am right now in the phase of like, of realizing that my beautiful, luscious, amazing hair that my baby girl gave me for a few months has now decided to part. And now I am left with these baldy patch-like edges that I am hiding. Y'all, I am about to get into my bang season. This hair is coming forward because sometimes I don't often pull my hair back anyway, straight back, because that's never been a good look for me. I did that in 9th grade one year, and I look back in the pictures, I was like, girl, what were you thinking? But so I always generally do have bangs, but now it's definitely like, okay, we're banging it up. Like it's gonna be, it's time for my bang season where all my hair is gonna be coming forward, until hopefully this hair grows back. But y'all, I am, look, to be like is it Gen Z, to be like Gen Z? I was shook. Okay. I was like, what is going on with my edges? So if y'all see my edges out there looking patchy and just a little rough and not straight, just pretend you didn't see it. Feel free to pray a quick prayer of growth over my hair, over my head. You don't have to come touch my head, but feel free to do that and be like, Lord, please give her hair back in Jesus' name. But yeah, look, y'all, that's the only thing I want to mention there. I am going to wrap up with this last part and again say thank you guys so much for listening. And this last part kind of goes back to what I had said earlier about trying to, just praying to God, talking to him, trying to learn his voice, hear his voice, hear direction, just learn from him and figure out things with God. And I was listening to a podcast, the Kingdom Speak podcast. I mentioned it before. I don't know if it was last week or last episode or the episode before that, but I was listening to this one, and I can't remember what the episode's called. I think it was Navigating the Unknown, maybe. And probably right around the 25-minute mark. I think it's just a 50-minute episode, but around the 25-minute mark is when it got real good for me. But the thing that stuck out to me was it was an older gentleman who they were interviewing and talking to. And like old saints, they do it for me because they've been through so much and they know so much. And I'm like starting to see, I don't want to say starting to see the value of the elder saints, but like legit, like starting to see the value of older saints, in the sense that, like, the things that I've started going through, the things I've recently gone through, these are things that these saints have gone through. And like, they did not lead perfect lives, and yet they're still here. And that is so encouraging, because like, when I just, like, remember when I said at the last, the other Kingdom Speak podcast I had heard, and it was the man who was talking about, he had lost his son. His son was, I think, 35 to cancer. And he was talking about that grief and the processing that. And I just think, man, like, wow, like, people, like, legit, people go through hard things. And I don't think it's talked about enough, I don't think suffering is talked about enough. That's why I like that podcast, The Theology of Suffering. I don't know, not because I felt blindsided by hurt or pain, but like, it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable topic, just, most of the time. And I'm not trying to bring this episode down by any means of any of that, but just trying to say that it is truly inspiring to see other people who have gone through the same, if not harder things, and have still made it on the other side, and can still say the things like, God is faithful, God is good, God is with me, God saw me through, all of those things. Like, they can still say those things that are sometimes hard to say when you're in the middle of it. And so that's just been encouraging. But the point of that specific episode, in the part that I thought was the most, that just brought me just a little something enough to make me want to write it down, was that he was talking about how he tells people, to get rooted, and then the fruits will come, right? To get grounded in God. But he was saying, like, just do those things, obviously, to do. He's like, pray. And he's like, sometimes, like, praying's not easy, and he said, he'll have, young ministers who'll be like, man, I fall asleep while praying, and da-da-da-da-da. And then he was just talking about, he's like, well, don't feel shame in that. He said, God doesn't shame you for falling asleep by praying. And he said, I've never shamed my boys, my sons, for falling asleep in my arms. And I was like, oh, I was like, thank God. Because, I have. Like, if you've ever attempted to pray, like, if you ever had to have a consistent prayer life, there are times where you're like, oh my goodness, I'm so tired, but I haven't prayed today. I need to go pray. So then you go pray. Or, oh my goodness, it's 6 a.m. I need to pray before I go to work. And you go pray. And you are 5 minutes in, and you just comfortable in the presence of God, and you fall asleep. The best sleep you've ever had, of course, is when you're trying to pray. But I just love that he said that there's no shame in it, right? And that, like, and just that whole, that kind of parallel to him and his children, when his kids fall asleep in his arms, like, there's no shame in that. And I was just like, oh, and I get, like, it's humorous that, fall asleep when we're praying and everything. And I understand the whole, we don't want to do that every time, but just the whole, like, we put so much pressure on ourselves to do it right every time, or to do it the same way every time, that sometimes we talk ourselves out of doing it in the first place, or even pushing as hard, because we're like, why push? Because I'm going to fail anyway, right? And so I really liked that. And then he also brought up one more point that I want to share with you, and then we'll be done. But he brought up another point where he said, he was talking about, like, when people say they don't remember what they read in the Bible. He's like, they're like, I read the Bible, but I don't remember it. I don't have good memory. And he was like, well, I don't remember what I ate last Saturday, but I know that it nourished me and is giving me life and energy and sustenance. And I was like, oh my goodness, yes, that's good, And I was like, okay. So I was like, I'm going to read my Bible, and I'm going to pray, even if I don't remember a thing and I fall asleep, So I just thought that was very encouraging. And so I was like, I got to share that. Like, that touched me. That tickled me. If you want to hear the whole thing, it's the Kingdom Speak podcast. I think the latest one, I think it was called, like I said, what was it? Navigating the Unknown, and it was good. And just real quick, the other thing he had mentioned was, like, even though he's old, he's like, one of the things that he still is growing in, because he was talking about, you never reach that point where you stop growing. He's like, I'm still learning how to navigate the unknown, even as an older man, and I'm still learning how to wait. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, so you mean this isn't something I'm just going to master and be done with? And basically no. So that made me feel better, though, about the progress that I've made in trying to learn how to wait and slow down and figure out when things are not going how I expected, or navigating even the unknown things. So anywho, all right, you guys, that was the last thing that I have. I told y'all I had so much to share, but it was fun. I really hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing it. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening. Again, happy 2 years in. I'm so glad we made it here. I'm going to continue to do this. I'm not going to give promises of changing as far as adding video podcasting, even though y'all, I can't promise that. I can't even come close. Every year I come back to it and I'm like, or anything like that. But I can say that I plan to still keep it up this next year. I'm hoping I'll be able to, I don't know, continue to share good things and life and all the ups and the downs and all the in-betweens with you all. And so, yeah, thank y'all so much for listening, and I'll catch y'all in a couple weeks.